Hi, this is Tiffany, and this is The Balanced Life, Redefine Fail, Redefine Success. And today, this video is talking about creating a life that you want to live. And the foundation of this teaching came from somebody did a post on social media, and they said, that having a great life isn't a spouse that will draw a bath for you and let you take a bath once a week. It's living a life that you don't feel a need to have a weekly escape. And you can argue whether you like that or not, but what that spoke to me is I often will joke that I live where people vacation. I live out in the country, just outside of a city. I'm on an acre, but my neighbor's a farmer, and so he's got, 100 acres or more all around me. I get to see animals that I don't have to take care of. I get to see crops that I don't have to harvest. And I get to live with, we're in an old farmhouse, so there's some drawbacks. But in general, I've got a life that I really enjoy, and I'm married to somebody that I love spending time with. And I get to do things that I enjoy doing, and I get to learn things that I enjoy learning. And what I was thinking about is the struggle that it took us to get to this place, but also the opportunities to just take a deep breath and appreciate what I had. The number of times I missed those opportunities because I was so focused on where I was trying to go. So this video is about creating that life, but also realizing what's good in this moment. So number one, what does that dream life to you look like? And hopefully it includes the people that are in your family, your children and your spouse and those people, because if not, that would be something for another video. So what does it really look like? What's your daily routine, your work-life balance? Do you genuinely love to work all the time? If so, I hope you don't have kids because they need to have some attention. Are there things your kids can do with you? I know people who have jobs that allow them to have their kids with them, like outdoors people and things like that, where teachers get to spend a lot of time in the summer with their kids. I mean, not during the school year. It's a little bit more difficult then because teachers put in a lot of hours. But things where you're able to have that balance. Or do you really love your job and you have a spouse who is the one that's like doing all the hands-on stuff and you're there a little bit less, but you're able to be there when you're there? What's your daily routine? What do you enjoy doing and what are you doing? Because if they're not lining up, you need to consider, is this the life that you want to have? And what changes might you need to make to get to the life you want to have? Number two, who is there? Like I said jokingly before, if you're not married yet, it's a little bit different. But if you are, who are the people involved? Which friends? Which colleagues and coworkers, if any? It's fine to just go to work and come home and have a completely different set. You don't have to be best friends with your coworkers. You can get along with them and have professional rapport, but you don't have to be best buddies. But if you have somebody who's a good friend, who is somebody you get along with well at work, that's also a friend in real life, all the better. But who is there? Who in your family? Who in your inner circle? Number three, what does that life cost? You have to be realistic about what price you're willing to pay to get what it is you want. Again, if you're still single or if you're married and don't have kids yet, this is a little bit different. There's more flexibility. Once kids are in the mix, then you've got to remember that you have lives that you're responsible for and you need to make them a priority because that's their childhood. And for you to just make your life all about you and not realize that you're somebody's mommy or daddy is very selfish, and that really annoys me. But I'm sure nobody watching this channel would be that kind of a person. But what does that life cost? What does it cost in time? What does it cost in studying? What does it cost in, schooling? Doctors, it costs them more than a decade of their life, hundreds of thousands of dollars, delayed start to their families, delayed start to their adulthood. Other people in other fields, it may not have those costs, but they have costs like the inability to do certain things that they might want to do because they don't earn as much. It may require them to live in a different area. All these kind of things. So what is the cost? What is the benefit? Number four, what has to happen to get there? Like I use the example of becoming a doctor. I have a friend who's a doctor and started later in, I think he was in his mid to late 20s when he started. Must have been mid 20s. So he didn't become a doctor and finish residency and fellowships and all that until his mid 30s. And so it delayed the start of many things he wanted to do, buying a house, starting a family, those kind of things. And when my kids were talking, when they were growing up, I said, okay, if you're interested in going into these fields, you have to consider what are these costs. You know, if you're going into a trade, you have an apprenticeship program, and then becoming a skilled craftsman and things like that. If you're going straight into the workforce, there's other things to consider. So what is the cost in time, in education, and all those things? Number 4, what has to happen to get there? So what do you have to do in order to get there? And what are your plans to get your life to intersect those things? And number 5, what is the first step? And what do you have to do to get to that first step? I've used the example of my husband because it's one I'm very familiar with. But the first step for him, we didn't even have the money for him to start his schooling when he decided he wanted to go into this professional track that he's in, this profession he's in now. And so the first thing we had to do is he was going to have to retake anatomy and physiology, because he had taken it at the college level at another school, I think, or maybe he hadn't taken it. I don't remember. Anyway, he was going to have to take it, and we didn't have the money to even buy a textbook, let alone enroll in classes. And he was working full time, and we were trying to get out of all that debt. So the first thing we did was bought a book for $25 that was like 2 editions older than the actual book he was going to need, just so he could start to read the material to get ready for the first class. And what was really cool is we did that at Christmas time. And in the beginning of January, the school he was applying to sent him notification of a scholarship, which was sufficient. It was high enough that it would allow us to enroll in that first term. And we didn't know what we were going to do after that, but we could at least enroll in the first term. And that's how we started. And 12 years later, he's in a career that he loves. So what is the first step? Get there, or get as close as you can. Maybe the first step is just researching programs. Maybe the first step is finding out where schools are. Maybe the first step is talking to your spouse or significant other and saying, this is what I'm thinking about. Can we make this work? So to create the life that you want to live, or maybe the first step is you want to leave the workforce entirely and you want to be home, whether working from home or just simply being at home, and you need to consider what kind of finances you would need to be able to do that, which is what we did for me to be able to be home. So create the life you want. What does that look like? Share it with the people in your life, and realize you can't necessarily have everything you want. If you've already got an established family and a house, you can't up and move to another country necessarily. Maybe you can, but start to write those things down and look at it and start building the kind of life you want to have. But remember, it starts on the inside. It starts with the person that you are. The outside things won't matter until the inside gets handled. So first decide what kind of person you have to be to appreciate the kind of life you want to live. And if you'd like more tips on that, go to my channel. I covered that extensively about a week ago. And there's lots of other videos there that would help you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let other people know about these. And I appreciate your loyalty and your time. And I will see you on the next video.